Hi, this is Tim from Get on the Drums. Today we're going to have a lesson in tuning a snare drum. Now I can remember being really confused about tuning drums. When I first got my first drum kit, I was so excited. It was a diamond drum kit sold to me by a drum teacher I had in London. I don't think that company are around anymore, but it was shiny, it was new, it was just what I'd saved up for. I loved it. And got it all set up. And then I remember being slightly sort of disappointed, really, that I couldn't make it sound like drums I'd heard on records. And I didn't realise why. And basically it's because drums on records have been absolutely produced to the nth degree. They've been damped down, they've been compressed, EQ'd, you name it, recorded in a really dry room, really dead room. So maybe if you've just got your first drum kit, or you're wondering why your drums don't sound great, this may help you. So I've got this snare drum in front of me. It's a Pearl Masters snare drum with die-cast hoops. I love it. My wife bought it for me, and I think it was second-hand, but it looked absolutely brand new when it came. So one of the first things you need to make sure is that you've got a decent head on the drum. Now, if you buy, I don't know why they do it, but if you buy a brand new kit, the heads that come with that kit are not great. So if you buy some new heads, they're on average about £10 to £12 per head. Not the bass drum one, they're a lot more expensive, but a snare or a tom head, about £10 to £12. I don't know what that is in dollars. Maybe someone can leave me a comment to tell me. So get a good head on. On this snare, I've got a Remo Weather King coated ambassador. Now I want it coated, means it's got a kind of like sandpaper effect on the top. This head's getting on a bit now. A lot of that is worn off. So for playing brushes and things like that, a coated sort of textured head is good, but you can get just clear heads, but most of them I think are coated. So yeah, that coated ambassador will mean some kind of thickness, not too thin, not too thick, so the drum rings a little bit. Okay, so this head has been seated, it's called. So that means when you buy a new head, you'll hear when you push down in the middle of the head, which I'll show you in a minute, it will crack and just kind of sit down on the edge of the drum. So let me detune this drum, and we'll go from there. I'm of course using a drum key, which has a square end to it, and that drum key fits on the tuning lugs. Let me take the hoop right off so you can see what that head sits on. Sometimes you can get the lugs to just spin out. Whether you're tuning or detuning, try and, if you notice, I undid them opposite. You don't want to just undo one and then undo the one next to it. So they should all be loose now, and you can just pick the head and the rim up off of the drum. So what you have there is a very sharp edge, and that, you know, bearing in mind the quality of this drum is very good, that head sits on just that sharp edge there. And when you seat the drum head, you push it down so that it's sitting on all of those. You don't want it slanted like that. Seating the drum is just putting it as flat as possible. So bearing in mind, you might get a brand new head. That's my head, which is probably a bit dusty and dirty. I've loosened the drum on the stand as well, so the drum can come off the stand and I can sort of pick it up and move it around. I'm going to show you about tuning the bottom head in a minute. So I prefer my snares to go across the drum like that, so that I can put the snares on and off with my left hand. Okay, so I can keep playing with my right and put the lever on and off if I need to in my left hand. It just feel a bit weird keeping playing with my left and doing that with the right. So that's how I have that set up. So it could be right across, exactly across like that. Obviously these the drum stand has to fit somewhere between these lugs. You wouldn't usually get these sitting on here. So try and position that so that the snares are going across. That's it, across the drum. I've slightly angled. Okay, and then your head, I get the logo to be right at the top, like that, so it's facing you, nice and neat. Okay, so that's your new head, and then you get your rim back and stick that on. Okay, and what you're going to do is just locate these tuning lugs in the threads here and do them all up finger tight. Okay, so no use of the key. You can just twist them. There's a little gap between the hoop and the lug there. Just twist them there. So, a little bit oily, which reminds me actually, if you're taking a head off, you might as well just oil the bottom of the bolt of the tuning lug a little bit. Now I do this by spraying something like WD-40 into the lid and then dipping them in, rather than getting the can of WD-40 and spraying it all over the drum. So that's how I do it. Same with stands as well. Now and again, just good to give them a little service. And when you're setting them up and taking them down, they just kind of snap down really quickly, and it makes it a lot easier. Okay, so that head is sitting on there, and all the lugs are finger tight. Now these have kind of got an anti-undo sort of mechanisms on them, so it's a little bit harder to do them finger tight. Okay, so now with the palm of your hand, I want you to push down in the middle of that drum, and it would crack quite a lot, and you'd think actually you're breaking the drum head, but you're actually just making sure that's sitting on that sharp rim there that I showed you earlier. Okay. I've even seen people stand on them to get that cracking to go. All right. Now, you're going to choose a lug. Again, I choose one near that snare catch. So usually in my left hand here, that's the one you're going to tune all these lugs to. So just give it a little half a turn, and then you're going to go to the lug opposite the one you just tuned. So little half a turn. Then move one lug clockwise and tune that, and then go to the opposite. Okay, and then again, little half a turn, little half a turn. You'll get used to it. I'm still holding the one I started with, just because I'm slightly stupid and I might forget. And then same again, that one, and you can hear the drums start to get a bit of tone into it. Okay, let's take those up. Take that out. Push down again. You might get more cracking. Okay, really push down. All right. So you can see that sounds pretty horrendous at the moment. All right. And then do that again. So go all the way around the drum. Okay, push down again. Okay, see what sort of sound. Now, there is no right or wrong way to tune a drum, any kind of drum. There's kind of maybe a ballpark. Maybe if you're an R&B player, you'd absolutely crank this right up and it's like really tight, really tight. You might want that sort of sound. I quite like the drum to be soft when you play with a stick. Oops, playing the piano there. Quite like that feeling there. That's still a little bit loose for me, so just a little bit more, little tweak, sort of quarter turns. You don't want to do too much each time. This drum as well has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lugs on it. Some cheaper drums might have 8, but by having 10 lugs, you get a more even tuning. The other thing is, because it's a die-cast hoop, it doesn't bend like cheaper drums. So if you tune one lug, it just all seems to. It's really easy to tune, basically. Yeah, it doesn't bend the rim. Okay, so. Now, when you hit that, you can use the key as well, just to tap. So we're going to tune this just by tapping the drum. Now, I'm going to hold the bottom head with my hand, because if you hit this top head, obviously the bottom head is resonating as well. The bottom head of any drum is called a resonating head. And with the snare head especially, that resonating head, because it's got the snares on it, is really thin. So you only want to hear the note from the top head. So just hold your hand on it. So we're going to still be tuning all the other lugs to this drum lug. See, that's a bit higher. Hope you can hear that. Push down. That's a bit lower. That's a bit lower. Seems a bit. Yeah. So listen for that sort of pure note. Ooh. That's sounding pretty good, actually. As I say, it might be a bit easier because I've already tuned it and it's already seated. So put your snares back on. See if you like the sound of that. Quite like the sound. It feels soft enough. Okay. So that's the top head. You might like that lower. You might like it with dampening on. You might like it higher. You might like it really tight. But that's a very quick video on tuning the top head. Just before we leave it, let's just take this off. Now, we've got a good tip for the bottom head. Now, because you've got this snare catch and this snare, and you're trying to tune the drum, and the snare's sitting on it, and it's really hard to hear, just take one stick and just prop the snares up under there. You won't stretch them, and then you can tune away. So exactly the same thing. Hold the head the other side, and tune round. I know this is pretty much in tune. So, and as I say, don't tap it too hard because it's a very thin head. You don't want to break that. You want to look after that. Have it in a case if you're going gigging. That's a bit low. That's sounding pretty good, yeah. And then just carefully take the stick out, turn it back. So I know that this side of the snare stand fits there. So I always look there, and then the rest of it just locates, and then tighten those claws back up again. Just to sum up tuning a snare drum, very quickly, when you get a new head, undo all the lugs, take one at a time, opposites, take the head off, put the new head on, make sure it's all clean. Might even need a hoover out if there's been lots of dust or lots of wood chippings if you're a heavy player. Put that head on, put the rim on, finger tight, choose a drum lug to tune the others to, just go opposite all the way round, and then just start to tune up. Don't forget to hold the bottom head while you're tuning, so you can only hear the top head resonate, and just see what kind of sound you like. So I hope you enjoyed that video on tuning a snare drum. You can apply that to other drums, as I say. Please give me a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, just down below, I think it's down there. Head over to Facebook. We've got facebook.com/getonthedrums.com, and most importantly, head over to the website getonthedrums.com and sign up to my mailing list. Happy drumming, and don't forget, get on the drums.